Okay, this is PEMDAS with fractions. We have talked about PEMDAS in some previous sections, but let's recap it again. P stands for, P is parentheses, E is exponents. Now, exponents I do not remember coming up in this class up to this point in time. M is multiply, D is divide, and A is add, S is subtract. And that's the PEMDAS model. Now we write it, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And what confuses people about the PEMDAS model is the M and D and the A and the S. They're pretty straight on the parentheses and then the exponents. But what's tricky about MD and AS is that you don't always multiply first and you don't always add first. These two are performed from left to right. These operations are performed from left to right. Excuse me. Now what that means is if division comes first, you divide first. If subtraction comes before addition, you subtract and then add. So multiplication and division, you follow the order that they come. Same thing for addition and subtraction. Okay? Let's look at number 2. Let's skip number 1 because number 2 is a little bit more difficult. Okay, so we do have parentheses. Why is my paper not scrolling down? Let's go to number 2. Okay, so we're going to follow the order of operations. We have parentheses, we have exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Do I have parentheses? Yes, I do. So what I want to do is I want to put my parentheses in my calculator first. I put both parentheses in the calculator individually. Okay, I'm going to do this with you. And I like to make sure that I'm entering it in the calculator correctly. And that, you know, if I see any issues that you might be having, I can catch them myself. So I'm getting 1/6 here. There's a division in the middle. I put 5/12 plus 5/8, and I'm getting 1 1/24. I want to change that probably, so let's write that down, 1 1/24. I want to change this to an improper fraction. So 24 times 1 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So it would be 25 over 24. We've talked about how to do that before. And then I just put it in my calculator, 1/6 divided by 25/4. And what did I do wrong? Oh, 25/24. Sorry, I put it in my calculator wrong. So let me try that again. 1/6 divided by 25/24 is 4/25. That is correct. So I did parentheses and then I divided. Those were the only operations required there. Let's look at number 3. Consider the following fractions, 7/8 and 5/7. I personally think the easiest way, you can get a common denominator here and then compare your numerators to decide which one's larger. But I would use my calculator. I would convert 7/8 to a decimal. And 7/8 as a decimal is 0.875. And then I would convert 5/7 to a decimal. 5/7 is 0.7142, blah, blah, blah. It goes on forever. And so if you look at those two decimals, we know that 0.8 is larger than 0.7. So this would be my larger of the two. How much larger? Well, what you do is you take the larger fraction minus the smaller fraction, and you subtract those. And the answer will be 956. Okay, let's go over to the right-hand side of the worksheet. I want to look at number 5. Number 5 is a great problem. They're talking about cooking here. So a recipe calls for 4/3 cup diced tomato and 2 4/5 cups kidney beans. It sounds like a chili recipe. If the recipe is multiplied by 2 1/2, how much of the mixture will there be? I'll be perfectly honest, there's a couple different ways to do this. But if we're going to use our order of operations, we would put our parentheses and we would add 4 2/3 plus 2 4/5. And then whatever we get there, we would multiply it by 2 1/2. Okay, so this is how we would set our problem up. We're going to follow the PEMDAS model. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So let me go to a different color. The first thing you're going to do is the parentheses. That's what you'll do first. And then the second thing you'll do is you'll multiply by 2.5. So the first thing you do is you put it in your parentheses, get your answer, then you multiply by that by 2.5. Let's try number 6 because it has something in it that I do not recall us ever seeing, and that is an exponent. Okay, so we'll look at number 6. It's 2/3 plus 3 squared. Okay, again, I don't remember ever seeing an exponent, but this is an exponent. When you have a number up to the top right, then that is an exponent. Now let me write down my PEMDAS model, and let's go through it step by step. Whoops, okay. We don't have any parentheses, so I'll scratch that out. I do have an exponent, so I'm going to do this. 3 squared is 9. It is not 6. 3 squared is 9. And then the rest of this, that's it. So I've done my exponent. Let's scratch that out. I don't have any multiplication in anywhere in this problem, so I'll scratch that out. Next is division. I do have division. This is the next thing I need to do. I did that previously. Oh, let me see what that is. So 5/6 divided by 2 3/4. It's 10/33. So I have keep your 2/3, keep your plus 9, and this becomes 10/33. Okay, so now I've done my division. I can scratch that out. I do addition and subtraction from left to right. Now in this particular problem, addition comes first, but even if it didn't, you would go from left to right once you're down to those last 2 steps. So 2/3 plus 9 minus 10/33 is 103/11. It says write it as a mixed number or fraction. Okay, if you want it as a mixed number, it would be 9 4/11. Okay, so either one of these, because it says mixed number or fraction. 11 times 9 is 99, plus 4 is 103. So you can write it in either way here. Hawks is very particular. Just make sure you read what they're asking for. Let's go to the last page. Well, I'm not really sure how many pages there are, to be honest. That's a simple one. The first thing you're going to do is divide. The second thing you're going to do is add. The first thing you're going to do is your parentheses. The second thing you're going to do is divide. Down here, again, first thing you're going to do is your parentheses. Second thing you're going to do is divide. Notice I have the answers built into this particular worksheet. I don't know if you prefer that or the answer key at the end, which is what I had been doing. Okay, let's look at the last one together. I think number 10 is the last one. So let's write down our order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Let's start with parentheses. So we do have parentheses. And we have an exponent. This is an exponent. Now let me explain to you what this means because I don't remember seeing this. 5/4 squared means 5/4 times 5/4. Now there is a squared button on the calculator. You can hunt for that. But to square something means to write it twice. To cube something means to write it 3 times or multiply it 3 times. To raise something to the 4th power means you would write it 4 times and multiply it 4 times. But here, this is pretty simple. So 5 times 5 is 25, and 4 times 4 is 16. So basically, I just squared the numerator and squared the denominator. So this is going to give me 25/16, and then I'm just going to keep the rest of my problem exactly as it is written. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm going to do one step at a time, and I'm going to cross out my PEMDAS model. So I did my parentheses, and I did my exponents. Is there any multiplication? Yes, there is. So that's what I want to do next. Okay, 25/16 times 2/5. Oh my, I didn't mean to do that. Delete. This is going to give me 5/8. Okay, I've done my multiplication. I do have some division, so let's do that next. We're going to do 3/4 divided by 2/3. And that is going to be 9/8. Oh, look at that. Now, let's use our old school addition facts. We know how to add fractions with a common denominator. They already have a common denominator, so all I have to do is add my numerators. So 4 plus 9 is 14. I keep my denominator, which is 8, and I need to reduce that. So what will go into 14 and 8? That would be 2. These are both divisible by 2. They're even numbers, and so 2 is a good thing to try. May not be the final answer, but it's a good start. So 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my answer is 7/4. It did not give you the option of a mixed number here, but if it did, it would be 1 3/4. So that's how you do the order of operations. And honestly, the order of operations holds true whether you're doing decimals, fractions, integers, positive numbers, negative numbers, any type of real number the PEMDAS model applies to. So have a great day, and I hope that was helpful.